At some point in your life, you're probably going to find yourself in a position where you need to take an existing hole in something and make it larger. But once a hole is already existing, it's kind of hard to take a hole saw, like the one I have in my hand here, and line it up perfectly to make that hole happen. So I'm going to show you on my Dana 44 backing plate how I am going to use two different hole saws, combine them together to create a guide of sorts, and then ultimately be able to drill this Dana 35 backing plate to the proper bearing size for my Dana 44 on my XJ. Let's dive into it. Okay, describing the dilemma that I'm having right now. We've got a Dana 35 backing plate, which matches the hole pattern and the brake shoe size for my Dana 44 that I already have on my Jeep. If you don't know, I had an axle failure. It completely destroyed the backing plate that's on this flatbed behind me. It's tweaked, bent. I can't use it anymore, but I knew that Dana 35s used the same bolt pattern for the axle tube itself, so I was like, all right, I'm just gonna buy a Dana 35 backing plate. Problem that I found quickly, the bearing for the Dana 44 doesn't fit through the opening here, which means I have to enlarge the opening on this. And I need to make it the same size as the hole right here on this Dana 44 backing plate. So you might be wondering, how the heck do you do that? Well, the easiest option to me is using a hole saw. But the problem with this is I can't line it up perfectly on the backing plate. If I drill it out of whack, it's crooked, something like that, it's gonna be a problem. I also don't wanna take a die grinder and spend 45 minutes messing around with this. So what I'm gonna show you guys is how I took a smaller hole saw, which fits perfectly into this backing plate. It's nearly a perfect fit, and how I'm gonna use that as a guide with this other hole saw. So first, with these hole saws, they've got a threaded hole in the back, and they've got this little adapter. So I'm gonna thread that in and just tighten this guy up. Now they also have these little guides inside. I'm gonna keep them down for now. See, there's some threads that are still sticking out. I've left the guide pins out for now. I'm just going to take the smaller one here and tighten it down inside of this. And after that is done, I can tighten down these guides. And so now what I've created here, essentially, is a hole saw with a smaller hole on the inside and the actual cut size that I want on the outside. And when I go to line this up, now I can guarantee on my backing plate that I'm actually going to be lined up perfectly. And if I spin it there, you guys should be able to see there's some marks already forming on that backing plate. So I'm gonna switch the camera view. I'm gonna go down low here onto a piece of plywood. I'm gonna cut this for you guys and show you how that works. So now I have a backing plate, and clearly you can see there's enough clearance now for the bearing. And that's sort of critical because you got to put this backing plate on before you put the bearing in with the axle assembly. So that's just a quick tip, something I learned a long time ago, is that you can often combine those hole saws together to create a guide of sorts. Just a couple things to keep in mind. After I made my initial cut and I had a little bit of a guide on the backing plate, I removed the smaller one because it can get in the way of cutting whatever you're trying to cut. So I pulled it out after I had a good mark, and then I removed it, and then I kept hole sawing through. And when you're cutting metal, it can be a little bit violent. The hole saw can jump all over the place, so safety glasses, hearing protection, all of that stuff is critical. If you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. But if you are a sort of do-it-yourselfer like I am, I hope that tip was helpful. If you like that tip, you want me to do more like that of little things that I've learned over the years, let me know. Subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and guys, see you in the next one.